Hello class, today's tutorial is going to be about application of lists and links. We are going to do a mixture of those classes that we have already looked at under introduction majorly. We would expand them probably on a later date in another tutorial that you might need to find, but now we are going to look at one of the applications of these links and the lists. So we are going to create 3 navigation bars. One is going to be a simple navigation bar, but with the nice designs, of course. The next one is going to be a navigation bar with icons, and the third one is going to be a navigation bar with a logo. Then for your assignment, out of this you are going to create a navigation bar with the logo, icons. You're going to combine all the 3 elements we are going to look at to create your own navigation bar. So let us begin. We can start by saving this and calling it to know which folder I am in, such that don't get any disturbances. So we can save this as nav1.css .html and continue with that. Then we can also create another one and we call it nav1.css. So this is the .css file. We can now say doc type HTML, head, title, and call this a navigation one. We have a meta here, character set, tf-8. We could link here as nav1.css. we could come to our body here, and there we are. So we are going to look at how you can mix lists and links to create different navigation bars, one being a simple one that you are going to begin with. Then we shall graduate to one that can be mixed with icons, and then from there we graduate with one that can have a logo, and then we see whether we could have the 4th one. But with 3 examples you should be able to now start thinking of which project you want to do, and then you are able to achieve it. So begin with the URL here, one that will contain, or that will be our encompassing element. We are choosing to use an ordered list, and inside every URL we have LI, or what you would call list items. And since these are going to be links or hyperlinks, links to other pages is what I am talking about, then we can use an anchor tag for those links. Now, in our introduction to CSS, we realized that you could link to a page that is already here with you. For example, in our folder we have a page called contact us, we have a page called home, we have a page called index, we have a page called position, we have a page called web icons. If those pages are not there, then it means even when you link to them, you will need to create them at one point. Why? Because you will have to have information. When a user clicks on those pages, then that page that you linked to will pop up or will be displayed. So you will have to create those pages. We can now say, for example, we link to internal pages, since this is going to be a navigation bar of our own website. We are linking to index.html, and somebody clicks on the word home. So when you click on the word home, then it takes you to a page that we know is index.html. So we can begin with main pages that a site could have. We can now change this from index.html maybe to about us, that we have a page called about us. Then this could also change to about underscore us, or just about, or about us, like this. Then we could also create another one that we can call maybe enjoy, depending on what you want to put there. Then we say fun, assuming we are looking at a camping site, that is what we are trying to design. Then definitely you have to create a contact page, contact us.html. then this can be contact, you can say contact us. Okay, then we could also look at another one here, maybe news. Somebody can access news from our site, then this could be news, for example. So when we open our page now of nav1, we shall find it looking like that, with no major designs, because so far there is no CSS. We have tried, there is nothing we have tried so far. So this is how our page will start, and this is our page will look like at the start. So we can choose to start adding in other things, or we can now work on this, and then we shall add in other things later. Let's go to CSS and begin from there. When you are dealing with the navigation bars, one thing you need to realize is that they need to sit right, assuming your navigation bar is going to sit at the top of the page. It could also sit at the side of the page. It could sit on, then they call it a side bar. The one they call on top is navigation bar. So if there is nothing else on top, or if it is going to be the very topmost item, then you need to set the margin. You need to set the margin of all corners to 0 pixels, and then set also the padding to 0 pixels. So look at that space. When I refresh, you can look at the space here. They are still there, so do not think they have gone anywhere. Then we can look at the body. I'll come to this later. I don't want you to get confused that your things have gone. You can come to the body here, and then we say background. We are going to begin with the background. We can apply the URL. Where is this located? It is located inside images. Remember, we are now, this file is inside CSS. So if it is inside CSS and the folder we are looking for images is outside the folder of CSS, we use the / like that, double dots, then /. Remember that. So we can pick maybe, let's say, image 9. Okay. When we refresh our page, this is what we see. We can now go back here and say background. Many things we can do to it. Background dash repeat. Then we say from here we are going to look at, from this, the next topic we shall tackle will be images. So you will know why we are using all these. But when you say background repeat and no repeat, we are saying that this background should not be repeated. In case the image is quite small, it should not be repeated. Then we say background dash size. Then we say cover. So we are saying stretch this background to cover the whole page, the whole width of the page, forever and ever for now. From here we can choose the font family that we can call maybe Arial. Let's use Arial and we'll see Arial sans serif. We can also choose the color for now to be white smoke. So we can first get that out, then we see how we are. Then we say we are choosing this color to be white smoke of the body, that everything on this page should be white smoke. And there we are. You might wonder why this is not changing, because these are links. They are on the body, yes, but for links you need to target them to be able to see that. Now here we say UL. Wherever the UL is, make sure the list style should be none. This will remove those dots. Okay, then we can go ahead, beginning with the first one, UL, and now here we can remember there is one thing I am omitting. I am assuming I'm designing this using this page only. Okay, if there are contents that you are going to include, please, you need to use a class. So here, for example, I would have decided to put all these in a certain class, such that in case I have either ULs and LI and A's on this page, of course you will have more on the same page. Then they can be designed differently using that class or ID name you have supplied. So keep that in mind, that if you are in real life, if you are doing this, you need to put these in a div tag for you to be able to control them separate from any other content on the page. Keep that in mind. So here, what do we want to do? We can begin by floating this to the left. We can choose to float this to the left. We are trying to make it go in a straight line. We shall look at this. We shall revisit a navigation bar when we start studying again Flexbox. We shall see how you can use Flexbox to deal with a navigation bars. Flexbox is quite huge. It is not very old and also not very current, but something that is very fundamental, and we shall look at this before you finish your course. If other things fail, I would want you to understand what Flexbox does, because it encompasses most of the layout of these pages. We have the layout functions, we have other display functions, we have we could use padding, we could use positions, and then position this and this, but Flexbox positions items so far, or by far, the best way possible. because it can literally put your whatever you are trying to achieve in the most precise way possible in the container you are selecting. So that is a topic we must cover before you graduate. So in here we are saying float left. We could also say that width of the pixels could be 200 pixels. Okay, we are separating them using 200 pixels. Again, we shall see how to do this with the different CSS properties. We could now say that maybe a background. Okay, let's create some background here. We are going to do a black background. We shall see when you refresh, that is what you see. We can now say that the height of this nav bar should be 40 pixels. Refresh, you see it here. Right now, I know you have, by the time you are looking at this, you have already studied text, how to work around text on a web page. You have already made height and line height, how to work with them, what do they do. In case you have forgotten, we are using them to vertically align our items in the space given. So we could also say that this text should be aligned centrally, text align center. Then we can now say that we can refresh and you see what this does. Okay, so each item you see here has a boundary. There is a tutorial that you need to look out for about margins, padding, borders, among others, that even when you create padding and you create margin, they always form an invisible borderline. So every item you see here has somewhere it stops and then the other one starts. So when I say center align, it is aligned according to its own boundary. So I could also now say margin dash right for you to see where this margin stops, and I'm going to make it a little smaller, just 2 pixels. We are saying separate the right border by 2 pixels. Okay, so we refresh, you now see them separate. Okay, you've already started creating something that you could have been thinking about for some time now. Now you can see that's where each and everything stops. Each has its own boundary. So we create a separation like this. Again, we are going to look at other ways of designing these when we come to Flexbox. Right now we are going to use, we are using the most common ways, which also work, by the way, because nobody will beat you that you did not use Flexbox. Now we can work on links, because as you realize they still have underlines and stuff like that. We can say UL, I, then A, which is for anchor tags. We begin with, I told you that if they are going to be links, then we use text decoration. If they are lists, we use list style. What color are you going to give these? We want to make them white smoke. So what is going to happen? We expect these colors to change into white and also the underline to go away. We refresh and there we are. Okay, so what else do we want with this? Maybe we can say we looked at pseudo-classes. Okay, let's introduce one. That when you hover over this ULLI, okay, when you hover or bring your mouse over, what should happen? That the background should be green. Okay, but also the border dash right that we created, border dash right we created, one should stay 2 pixels. We should also see a solid border there, and color should be orange red. So refresh. Now we are saying that when you hover over these home, about us, fun, contact us, news, what should happen? That the background one should change to green. 2, that the right hand side of the border should be 2 pixels. It should be a solid type of a border, and the color should change to orange red. When we hover, you see our background changing to green. We have our right border as solid and 2 pixels. You can see we are achieving that on every child of the URL of the UR. Now for now we are almost done, okay? But we also need to show that if I, for example, hover over about us, there are other links there. If I hover about fun, there are other links there. In your free time, you can add on something here, contact us, you can add on news, there is no need of adding home, because home is always your home page. When you click on home, somebody should go to that home page. Okay, so let's go back to our HTML now and add in those items. When you come to about us here, there is something. When we were talking about lists under HTML introduction, I told you if you are creating a sub menu, it must fall inside the closing tag of the LI. So we are trying to create a sub menu under about us, and that is how we do it. You can see the closing tag of LI is now, whatever you're going to type is going to be inside the closing tag of LI, and we are not touching these anchor tags because this is our main LI. Okay, so anything is going to be down here. So we are still going to use this. We say then we say LI, we say anchor tag. Which page? We could have a page that is known to be m and v.html, that when somebody clicks on about, hovers, or whatever you have defined to do, or hover, focus, and other things, there should be certain submenus that display or show up. One of them is mission. What is the mission? Mission and vision, for example. Okay, so now I can copy this without wasting time and paste it a number of times according to the pages I would want to create. For now, maybe let us create 3 more pages. Another page could be that one about us, you find photos. Photos of our company, and we could define this, we could give this a title of our team. So when somebody clicks on our team, it takes them to the photo gallery you will have created under photos.html. Then we could also look at map, because it is very important. These days people have got nice smartphones. They need to know your location by going to about us, then clicking on the map.html or map link. It should be able to give them directions from wherever they are. They can put in their location, and then it should give them directions on how to reach your area. Remember, a website is hosted online, but it has a location on planet Earth, so you need to put that in mind. We could come to fun also here, UR, LI, A. Then we can say, when you click on fun, what do we have? We have packs. Okay, packs.html. Once again, I want you to know that all these are pages you must create on a web page. All these where you see .html. All those are pages. That is why when people charge you money, you should not quarrel, because it takes time to create all these. Then we could have something else we can call campsites. We have parks, we have campsites. Here is what the user is going to see: camp sites. Once again, remember how to press it. It is a link, so it is inside the anchor tags, closing and opening in between there. The next one we want on fun could be events. What events do we have? Upcoming events. What if somebody is out there looking for areas to visit, and they land on your page, okay, of the company? So where do they go to understand what you are dealing in, what you are offering? Then they can come on events or campsites or parks, and then they see maybe yours is a travel company. Okay, so now we can refresh our page, and then we see what happens. We refresh our page. Here you see them, they are down there taking up their parent designs. What does that tell you? This is why we call this cascading style sheets. We said in our tutorial about CSS that we call it cascading because what you apply to the parent is also applied to the children and to everything inside that parent, unless you design them differently. Let's do that, because when you leave it like this, it looks ugly and out of shape. So let's head over to our CSS. Now we can first and foremost say that UL, LI, those are the main links. Let me show you where they are. This is what we are talking about, UL, LI. Okay. And we are saying that when you hover over here, okay, then UL, LI should be sorry, I'm jumping something here. Saying UL, LI, then we are going to say that the display none. What does this mean? That we are forcing the submenus not to be displayed. Okay, here they are displayed automatically or by default, but we said UL, LI, then UL, LI. So we are on the second submenu. If we had another submenu here, that when you click on our team, for example, you find maybe gallery, or we have different galleries. Say maybe the company started in 2010, we have 2010, 2011, or we do it every 2 years, or whatever the company has decided to have. Then you would have a third submenu. So that would be UL, LI, UL, LI, UL, LI. Then you say display none, such that even when I am here and I have not allowed these to be displayed, then they shouldn't be displayed. So we refresh our page, and now they cannot be displayed. Even when you hover over here, they won't be displayed because we have said do not display. Now let us display them. We are saying that UL, LI, hover. So we are saying that when you hover on the main menu, where we have home, this is our main menu. Next time I mention main menu, remember this. So I'm saying when you hover over our main menu, then what should happen? UL, LI, hover over there, go to another section called UL, LI, then do what? Display block. We could have said he wants to display one by one. We want to display block. We are going with what is most common. Refresh, and now you can see we are able to display them as a block. So what else can we do? we can, an example, when we come over here, you see them, refresh our page here. They are still taking over some of the parent designs. For example, what if we wanted to add to change how these ones work, the sub menus? We could do that. Let's head over to CSS. For example, we can say that UL LI, that is the main menu, UL LI, that is the sub menu. We are saying create a border bottom, it should also be 2 pixels, it should be solid, and then maybe purple, a color that can be seen. Okay, so when we refresh our page, you see that border right there. We could have created it on a hover, we could have left it like that, no problem. Now you can see these kind of overlap to another item on main menu. There is some bit of space here, and that is being caused by the margins and paddings we were using. We can remove them by saying that everything on this page, this is the symbol, the asterisk symbol or the multiplication sign on your keyboard. We are saying that create margin 0, padding 0 for the whole page. So if you want to define margins and paddings anywhere else, you will have to define them inside your own class. But for the whole page, we are saying margin and padding 02. It also makes sure that our nav bar sits right at the start of our page on top. Okay, such that you have no lingering space of a background on top. Here you see it here. Now when we refresh our page, it sits both right at the top and the left hand side. If you wanted some space from here, then you can define margin, a certain margin for these URLs, or if they were in a div, for example, then you would define the left margin to create some space there. But if we want them to start like that, now you can see they are beautifully aligned. Now when you hover over the first one, you see that red line, that orange line we've created, that was the same on top here, and it isn't looking very nice there. We can choose to remove it, or maybe create one with a different color. You can say, for example, that UL LI, that is the main menu, UL LI, that is the sub menu, that when you hover over that sub menu, what should happen? Border dash right, because it is a right hand border, none. We don't want a border there, so we say none. Otherwise, if we wanted it, we would have defined the colors then. So now we refresh. On the main menu, it is there. On the sub menu, it isn't there. You see it? It is not there. It also means that on these sub menus, we could probably say that, for example, when you hover over them, margin, okay, dash bottom, margin bottom should be maybe let's say 2 pixels. Okay, we refresh our page, we come here, I hover, there is a slight detachment every time I am hovering on that particular item. Okay, you can see it there. If you still want them separate like that, if not, you can as well leave them the way they are. Just trying to show you that it is possible to have it the way you want. Okay, so it means we could do, there are many things you can do here, that when you hover over maybe these ones here, or you can do it here, that for example we set the background which was black, RGB. If we want black, then red is going to be 0, green 0, and also blue 0. Shall have created a black color. But now that is similar, we want to add in what we call opacity, the alpha sign. We can make this 0.5 to make them a little light. We'll refresh our page. Now you can see our mission and vision, or the submenus, have a lighter background at the start. Okay, there are quite a number of things here you're trying to do. It also means you could have given them a different color of their own, so that shouldn't bother you. So from now you can do anything you want. If that becomes too light, then we can make it at 0.8. we'll refresh, it will still be like this. If you want it black completely, if you have opacity, make it 1. It will be completely black, like the one on the main menu. So that is one type. We are going to look at another one that involves the icons. We are going to begin by creating the same thing, then we can later add on icons. If you are watching this, then it means also you've finished the topic under text, where we covered largely how to add icons on text, how to add icons on navigation bars, much as we did not float them like we have done today, but they were also a certain form of navigation bar. So let us look at that example. Can create 2 new files, and we can call this one nav. We can call this maybe navbar2 dot css, since we're in the css folder. We save, then we can create this one as HTML. Create this one as an HTML page. We say navbar dot navbar2 dot HTML. File save as type for Windows operating system, so I save that and I create my page structure. And call this navigation bar maybe. Then we can have this as our meta. We can link this to navbar, which is inside CSS. Then we have our head here, our body, where we are going to put everything we want to deal with. So like I had said, we can put this in a class. We call this menu, maybe menu dash bar. Then we have a UL here, then our LIs. We could have them as the first one. We want it to just stay on that page. So how do you do it? By simply putting a hash. For example, like this. I am commanding that link that when you click on it, it should take you to the home page. The same applies when I say index.html. if I am on that particular page, then it will strictly take me to the same page. So we can name this home. That is another way. I can say LI A. Then I say maybe we can create another page called about dash us. Then this becomes, which is the .html. Then this can be maybe about dash us. Then we could create another one that is pointing to maybe say services.html. Then this will be services. I can copy now and paste this another number of times. 4. I can change this and call this contact. Maybe I can just change this and call it prices or pricing. I can come here and call this investors. I can come here and call this clients. I can come here and this is services. We've already worked on it. So this changes to clients.html. This changes to investors. Another thing you need to look out for is the spelling. So if here you use, for example, you can say I'm calling this pricing. If I have an HTML page called pricing, when somebody clicks here, they will say page not found, simply because of a spelling error. So watch that out. This could maybe a page called contact. Okay, like that. So when we open our nav bar to here, that is how it will look like this. You can see our title. So what do we do in that case? We can head over to our CSS, and we are saying that all here, that the margin should be 0. Now we are okay that when I do that, it does not mean that my stuff has gone. Then we could say that body, what should we want? We want a background on this URL. Should be outside the images folder because the navbar.css is inside, is a file inside a folder called CSS, and yet the image is outside the folder called CSS. So we are using double dots to pick a folder outside CSS. So we can pick image 8. We can say apply other properties. We can say cover, we say background repeat, then we say no repeat because we don't want it repeated. Then now we can maybe use a different font family called Tahoma. Is here, but I want it to pick Tahoma, so it becomes fast, like that. Now when we refresh our page here, this is what we see, background, and then these position or pushed to the limits. So we had our class called menu bar here. This is what I'm picking, menu bar. And then go to menu bar UR. What should you do to the UR? You can use now a different one, display flex. Okay, this works like display or like float left that we have made. By the way, if you said float right, then they would run to the right hand side, so that you don't have to feel constrained. If you want your menu bar to start from the right to the left, then you say float right, and then the whole thing will float to the right and leave some space on the left hand side where you can put your icon, your logo, and things like that. Then we also say list style none. Okay, so when we refresh here, we see it like this. So we are now using the class and the UL. That way we are able to control if there are other URLs on the page. They shouldn't now flex because they are not belonging to that particular class. Whereas when you simply say UL alone, then every UL, when you say float left, it will float left. When you say float right, it will float right. So now we can pick our class once again. Then we say UL, LI. We go to the links. What do we want? Text decoration none. We don't want those underlinings. Maybe we want to give them a color also, which is now white. Smoke, I like that because it helps me. It can easily rhyme with many backgrounds that I would want to create. So there we are, still compact. We can now then say that this menu bar, we are saying that UL, LI, what should happen with this? Should be about 120 pixels. Height, we could define height, let's say of about 40 pixels. When we refresh, we see what happens. Okay, this is what is happening now. You are not seeing height because we have not used any background. If you put a background, then you would see where it stops. Line height, we can also say 40 pixels, that is vertical alignment. We can say text align, text dash align. We say center. These are things that easily come to your mind when you are working here. You see them shift now. Then we also have our we could add a border dash right, maybe 1 pixel, solid, orange, red. You can use your favorite color. Okay, you see it there. Now I can come to this class, our major class. Can come to our major class here. I apply the background to the class, not to the lists, because I still don't want to affect them entirely. So I can say background, just background alone. Here I want which color. I can use RGB for example. Define red as 0. Maybe I want a certain shade of green, so I don't say 255 to create a pure green. I might choose to use 100, and then I can say blue also to be 0. So I am creating a certain shade of green. When I refresh our page here, this is what we see. We could also say that maybe create some small space there on our URLs. We can say margin 15 pixels. When we do this, every side, every corner is going to shift 15 pixels. Top, bottom, right, left is going to shift 15 pixels. So we are creating something bigger now because of using the margin. That is why this is increased like this. Okay, they are tending to this side. The words are tending to this side. So now the next step, if we have achieved this, is we could leave it like that, or we could, for example, assuming maybe we wanted we could say now to this menu bar here that width should be, usually we let it flow to the whole function, to the whole page, but assuming we said, say, what does 90% mean? Just put that and we see. So you see we are cutting it off. If we want, we could let it fly like that, meaning our width is 100%, so there is no need of dealing with that. Then we can, let us increase slightly to 130, the width there. Then we can see this pushing like that. Under Flexbox, we shall see how we can evenly display it from here to here. It is evenly displayed, no problem. So under this space that is remaining now, you could put, say, certain icons. Be creative. Maybe I can put a Facebook icon here. I can then put a WhatsApp icon here. Maybe I can put something else, a telephone icon here, you know, stuff like that under this space. So how do we now put in our icons on these elements? That is what we are going to see. So we are now going to add our icons on our navigation bar here. We said in our tutorials under text that we need the font awesome CDN. We could this one is going to take you some time. Just come and say CDN.js, CDN.js. Then you say font awesome here. If you use the other one on top, you will have to search. Then we can pick this that says all. You will have taken all, copy link tag, that is okay. And we come to our code here, we link them to that, so we have a full library there. We might use all those, or we might just stop at this. The rest can be deleted, we don't need them that much. And here we are. So when we refresh our page, right now there's nothing that is there, so we're going to look for these icons on font awesome, and we can say font awesome icons, font awesome, then we shall go to its page, and then we search for those icons. Here we can also do the same thing. We reduce the time searching. We can now say home here under the search bar. That search, we had another page called about us. We can maybe we say to cite something like location, because we can say maybe location, then we see. So we come here, be worked upon. So we have our home, can use this icon on it and let it open in a new page. You go with that. So this is just to show you how to get them. I'm going to show you these two, then the others you could search, copy, paste, and do the same thing as I am doing here in this tutorial, such that we don't make it very long. Maybe here I can choose this campus, for example, as my icon. So we said we copy this and we just click in it, we copy it, and then we take it to our HTML structure. Since it is a link, we would need this exactly here to also become a link. We paste it there. We can come back, pick this one of the campus, copy it, go back, come here, and paste it there. So that's how we are going to be doing all other others. So I can come to services, then edit this services. Maybe I want to use something else as a fuzz, and this one is far dash, and to use something like a bell that says at your service. And this one here for clients, we can use maybe far dash user friendly, or user dash friends. User dash use an icon maybe of briefcase on the investors. First, we can use an icon of briefcase. And we could use another icon here of pricing. We can use tags. Then for contact, we can maybe use an icon of an address book. Address is D dash book. So when I refresh this page, I told you need an online connection for the other link to work and be able to pick your icons that you have inserted. So now you can look at our icons already there. We can maybe increase some little space. We can increase some space there in between by checking that label, add I, so we can pick this tag together with the class here, and then we say dot menu, then we are saying I, because it is a tag that identifies all of them. Then we say padding dash right, for example, padding dash right, maybe 3 pixels. So it will create, because I looked at some, it will create some space from this icon to this first letter. As you can see, there is that space. So if you want more space, no problem, you can increase the space. So now whether you hover over the icon or the word, everything is okay. So that is how you would